We got the update on the Captain Aguasvivas case.
Kidnapping and murder case of Katherine Aguasvivas. And I think that what has been incredibly important for us throughout this investigation is to be open and transparent and share as much information as we possibly can because of the frightening circumstances of this particular case and being captured on video by this Seminole County citizen who we're incredibly grateful for. As a recap, in the
Think about that. He said thank you to the person that filmed that thing. Imagine the huge lack of evidence that would have been there is the fact that they were able to match the clothing that he was wearing in the Facebook picture to the clothing he was wearing in the video. That would never happen had them people not pulled out their phone when they did, you know what I'm saying? And the case probably wouldn't be as strong as it is if not for that videotape.
In the early stages of this investigation, I think that I had made a nexus potentially between an Orange County murder investigation. I think that we talked about the kidnapping which clearly occurred here in Seminole County. We knew that the perpetrators and suspects of this crime traveled through Orange County, that the murder of Katherine largely and likely occurred in Osceola County. And just in that scenario alone, we're talking about two different jurisdictions, three different jurisdictions in two different circuits. You have the Ninth Circuit that covers the state for Orange and Osceola counties.
Everybody was in on this one.
To recap the charges, we're really largely right now talking about four individuals. First, Giovanni. Giovanni got introduced to us as likely the last person that our victim spoke to. We knew that we got a faces comparison through the Pinellas County faces. And then we, the sheriff's office and our state attorney's office, executed a search warrant not related to this particular carjacking murder on a house that Giovanni and his girlfriend Soto lived in.
Talk about timing. Timing, or these sheriffs whipped that shit together quick. I mean, they had already been watching them, I'm sure, watching Giovanni and Monique Sabel, because it was quick for them to find out from Catherine's brother, hey man, this was the last guy that he faced that FaceTimed her. Him telling the police that, and then them, boom, getting surveillance on dude and getting a warrant. They were on top of dude already. Everything felt like dominoes.
Coincidentally, when we were executing the search warrant, the federal organization of HSI arrested Soto for accepting delivery of 3 kilos of cocaine down in Osceola County. That is a federal investigation.
Stranger than fiction, boy.
Giovanni, his crime and his alleged activity are state attorney's office and the sheriff's office. Those are our cases here. So the trafficking fentanyl, the stolen merchandise, the drugs, the gun that was found at the house, that is state. We talked about the two others, Jordan or Jordanish and Kivo. We said that Jordan was the person that was holding the gun that was at that scene, and then Kivo, through various records and sources, was connected as a person who was connected to a car that picked up a couple of the people that were driving the green Acura, and then ultimately records put him at the scene of the carjacking. The last news conference I had was that was going to be worked federally. So Jordan.
Still, who's the other person in the green Acura? We ain't heard that one yet.
And Kivo and Soto are all under the federal umbrella. I think that any person who's watched this know that.
You guys see what's happening here, right? He's folding it up and putting a little bow on it so that he can hand it over, because it is no longer his investigation, or Orange counties, or Osceola counties, or none of them.
That this is that rare case. You know, in police work, you have two different things that you say. You say that this is a isolated incident and a random act, which is incredibly alarming, or you say that this is not a random act. The players in this are connected.
So there is a third person that we're not hearing about here. This guy right here, he has zero to do with the kidnapping as far as being on the scene or any of that. So he's out of this. But supposedly, this dude that was wearing the Armani Exchange and had the mask on and all of that, he hopped out of the green Acura. Somebody else was in the green Acura. Later, video was found in a parking lot with this guy driving a red Toyota behind the green Acura with this guy and one more person. And we haven't heard about that other person yet.
Some way, somehow. And of course, I feel what we witnessed out there with that carjacking, what we witnessed with the murder, are probably symptoms of a larger problem that's going on that extend well beyond the scope of the 18th Judicial Circuit and the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. So working with the State Attorney Phil Archer and all that, we had made the determination to move this case federally.
There it is.
Here with us today is somebody who I have great respect for, is actually the Chief Federal Law Enforcement Officer of the Middle District of Florida. That's U.S. Attorney Roger Hamburg. He will be here with leaders of the federal agencies. And I think what is also important is that we have one voice and one authority speaking on the follow-up, what are the next steps. You always run into problems if there's two different organizations giving feedback, giving updates. So with this press briefing, it should serve as an official public handoff between us handing off the work that we've done to Roger Hamburg, our U.S. Attorney, and the various federal agencies that we partner with. We will continue to partner with them. We have various members of the Seminole County Sheriff's Office that serve as task force agents on the various federal agencies that are represented here today. But with that, I'll introduce U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Florida, Roger Hamburg.
Hamburger, Joe. Just like in the movies, feds the suits done showed up and took over the investigation. Hit the like button, y'all. And now they are in the building. Look at them.
If my law enforcement partners can join me from the federal government.
All right, he wants his law enforcement partners to join him from the federal government. Look at this. Got the whole Peanuts gang up in here.
Good afternoon. I'm going to do some introductions from your left to right. We've got FBI Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Josh Del Manzo. To his right, to his left, your right, we have HSI Special Agent in Charge, John Condon. We then have Eddie Hobb, who is the United States Postal Inspection Service team leader for this area. We then have Nishan Tulsi, who's the Assistant Special Agent in Charge for DEA.
You got a problem with that word, assistant.
We have Assistant Special Agent in Charge.
Oh, she broke the lab mic. Come on, girl.
Thank you.
Get it together.
Thank you, Sheriff, for that introduction, and thank you for your leadership and for the excellent work that you and your office have done on this investigation. Combating violent crime is a top priority of the United States Department of Justice, and it's a top priority of my office, the United States Attorney's Office. During my time as the United States Attorney for the second largest district in the country, I've committed an unprecedented number of resources to prosecuting violent criminals. My office is dedicated to this mission. It's a mission that we share with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners, some of whom are with me here today. They are the backbone of our crime-fighting efforts, and we work hand in hand with them every day to identify, arrest, and prosecute violent criminals. And that is why I'm here today.
I'm here to take this case away from y'all. Y'all ain't going to hear shit else about it. It's a wrap. It's our business now. We're not going to be privy to as much information as we were privy to before. We'll see what we get from here. Let's see what he gives us. He ain't going to give us much. He's going to basically tell us to mind our business.
Charges that have been brought as a result of the joint local, state, and federal investigation into a terrible act of violence that was committed 18 days ago in Central Florida. The facts of the carjacking and murder are very well known. On April 11th, Katherine Aguasvivas, a 31-year-old woman from Homestead, was carjacked and kidnapped in Seminole County. She was murdered, and she was found dead in Osceola County. It was a gruesome murder. The victim was shot several times, and her body was found in a burning car. And as the sheriff said, and as I believe, this was not a random act. It was a targeted act. And this targeted act has led to a targeted local, state, and federal law enforcement investigation. Over the past 18 days, you have heard 3 individuals identified as persons of interest: Kevin Omar Ocasio-Justiano, Giovanni Crespo Hernandez, and Jordanesh Torres Garcia. Within a week of the carjacking and murder, all 3 of those individuals had warrants issued for their arrest. And within
For other shit. Not even for this. For other shit, they had warrants. They were like, oh, let's go the easy route. Grab that one with the warrants that they already got.
in 2 weeks of the carjacking and murder, all 3 of those individuals were arrested. None of them are out on bond. All of them are being held in custody. 5 federal agencies: the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the United States Drug Enforcement Administration, Homeland Security Investigations, the United States Marshal Service, and the United States Postal Inspection Service.
Right, even the mailman is involved in this one, all right? Even the letter carrier can't fucking get out.
A lot has been accomplished by the investigative team over the past 18 days. On April 13th, 2 days after the carjacking and murder, Ocasio-Justiano left Central Florida and went to Puerto Rico. On April 16th, 5 days after the carjacking and murder, my office worked with the Drug Enforcement Administration to obtain a criminal complaint to federally charge him with possession of fentanyl and cocaine with intent to distribute, and possession of a machine gun in furtherance of drug trafficking.
They just went, soaked up every bit of information that they had on these people. Luckily for them, these people are super criminals that just are just crime day in and day out. So they had everything right there waiting for them. Well, we got this one on this one on that one on that. Come on, man. They got Buddy for everything he just said. They got old girl with a lamp full of brocaine. Like, they was wilding, boy. But everything was happening at the same time, and there was a tow truck driver that got smoked in the middle of all that. And where's this 10mm weapon, and whose weapon was that?
Ocasio-Justiano was federally arrested in Puerto Rico by the United States Marshal Service last Monday, and he is currently being held without bond at the Federal Detention Center in Puerto Rico. He'll be returned to Orlando to face the federal charges here. On April 17th, 6 days after the carjacking and murder, agents with Homeland Security Investigations intercepted a package from Puerto Rico that was shipped to Orlando containing 3 kilograms of cocaine valued at approximately $60,000. The package was picked up in St. Cloud by Giovanni Crespo's Hernandez's girlfriend, a defendant by the name of Monica Sibyl Romero Soto.
Monica Sibyl.
She was arrested and federally charged with possession of cocaine with
Monica Sibyl.
intent to distribute.
I didn't think we was going to get another version of that name, but we managed to get one.
And her case is pending here in federal court in Orlando.
Monica Sibyl.
On April 18th, a week after the carjacking and murder, a state arrest warrant was issued for Crespo Hernandez, arising from the execution of a state search warrant at a residence that he shared in Castleberry with Romero Soto. Inside that residence, the Seminole County Sheriff's Office recovered fentanyl, they recovered drug ledgers, and they recovered more than $13,000 in United States currency. He has been arrested, and Crespo Hernandez is being held without bond for those state charges. On the same day that he was being charged by the state, Jordanesh Torres Garcia was apprehended by the Marshal Service in Orlando on a federal warrant for a violation of supervised release.
This is all stuff
And
we
last
know
Wednesday,
already.
April 24, 13 days after the carjacking and murder, my office obtained a criminal complaint that federally charged him with the carjacking of Miss Aguasvivas, resulting in her death. This great teamwork has already yielded immediate results, with 4 defendants and only 11 days being charged after the carjacking and the murder.
They did quick work. They had everything they needed to do the work. You know what I'm saying? They caught these dudes pretty quick.
With 3 of the previously identified persons of interest being held in custody and not being released on bond.
But it just seems to me that everybody was on their ass. All their districts were already on these guys. So when it came time to work together and say, you know, I got you, I'll send you this information, get me that, it was easy for them.
We are not limiting our investigation to the carjacking and to the murder.
Bet you
Our
ain't.
investigation has been and will continue to be thorough, methodical, comprehensive, meticulous, and unrelenting. Of the 3 defendants who've been federally charged, one of them has been charged in connection with the carjacking and the murder, while the other 2 have been charged with drug possession with intent to distribute offenses or firearms offenses. And we are not going to limit the individuals who are charged in this case to the 3 persons of interest who have been previously
AKA
identified.
they on y'all ass and they coming for you.
If we find evidence of a federal violation in the course of our investigation, we are going to pursue it.
Your boy right here getting tired, bro.
Methodical. Single person.
He been methodical and relentless and rough, rugged, and raw for the last 20 minutes. Like, relax, bro. Show us up. Questions. Here we go.
I will take questions.
Charges include carjacking resulting in death. No murder charges yet?
In the federal system, that is a murder type offense. The carjacking resulting in death is something that's subject to up to life or even the possibility of the death penalty.
Okay, I've been telling y'all that charge was going to change. I kept saying that charge is going to go from carjacking that caused unaliving to an unaliving case. But he's saying they pretty much equate the same thing in the federal system. So there we have it. So maybe it won't change. Same time behind it.
Have you been able to establish any greater connections between Giovanni and Kevin and Jordanish or Giovanni and Katherine or any of the players involved?
He ain't going to tell you that.
And so one of the things we're going to do during the course of this
I don't see him answering that question, but maybe he will. Let's see.
investigation is we're going to follow up on each and every lead.
They on your
We're going
ass.
to fully investigate exactly what you're talking about, which is the connections between these individuals. Because like everyone in this community, and we all live and work in this community, this case has been a tragedy and has impacted all of us. So we're going to get to the bottom of it to determine what the motive of that crime is. I'm not prepared to lay that out for you here today.
Hell no, he
But I
ain't.
can tell you that as we are at the beginning of this investigation, that those are exactly the type of questions we're looking to get answers to.
We were led to, and it's been a very complicated train of events, that phone records put the guy that was, the street name was Kivo Justiano, with the Green Acura at the time of the carjacking. Is it likely, as this proceeds, that he'll face a very similar charge to Torres Garcia?
What I can tell you about
Is no. He ain't going to tell you shit.
I'm not going to comment on where we are with respect to our investigation. None of them gave any forewarning to the victim in this case of what they were going to do. They didn't give any forewarning to this community. They didn't give any forewarning to law enforcement. And we, in the course of our investigations, we don't give forewarning either.
There it is.
And what
They're going to move how they moved. They ain't going to let us know no more. I think we've heard what's last of it. The next things we'll hear from this story will probably be the final round of people that go to prison for it. The final round of court dates and charges and all of that.
I can tell anyone
Whenever that
who's
happens.
involved in this is we are going to conduct a thorough and comprehensive investigation. And if we can charge anyone related to this case, or anyone that we discover who's related to another case, which we've already done, that is what we're going to do. This is going to be a very comprehensive investigation and prosecution.
At the risk of asking a question that I think I probably already know the answer to, the husband and I think it's the cousin or the brother, there's been some question about their cooperation and their veracity. Can I assume that if you haven't already, that your investigators will be speaking with them about the situation here?
I think what I can say on that is you can assume when I say we're going to interview every witness, we're going to interview anyone who can help us determine what happened in this case, that we're going to follow up on each and every lead, that our investigation is going to be as comprehensive as it can be using the lawful tools that we have available to us.
At this point of the investigation, do you know why Katherine was the target of this attack?
That is something we're going to get to the bottom of, and that's going to be...
I don't even know why they're even asking him questions anymore because he's made it clear as day. I got no answers for you. What I can tell you is there will be a complete and thorough investigation, and it will be relentless and all of that shit. That's all he got to say.
And I think that also was similar to the first question I got. And so,
look, he shit on it real quick. And you repeating questions because Buddy already asked me that. Don't ask me that again. I'm not giving you no answers.
And they're questions that all of us have with respect to a crime like this, and it's motive. You know, why did this happen? It's not something we're required, to prove as part of our cases. Murdering someone, doing a carjacking resulting
Doesn't matter
in death
why.
is a crime. There's no requirement for us to prove the why of it. But that is part of our investigation, and we're going to follow up on that, and we're going to do the very best we can to determine the why. And so we're going to continue to work on that.
Orange County and looking into the murder of the tow truck driver?
Yes, we do consider that to be related to this, and that is going to be part of my comments, where we're going to follow up on each and every lead, and we're going to look at everything that we learn as a result of this. And even if it doesn't turn out to be connected, even if that's not related to this in some way, we are still going to investigate that particular murder, which is a gruesome murder. And if we can bring federal charges in that Orange County case, we're going to do that as well. Because as the sheriff indicated, one reason, why we are stepping forward to take the lead on this particular case is the multi-jurisdictional aspect to it. We've heard Osceola County, Seminole County here, Orange County, someone coming from South Florida. We have a package from Puerto Rico. And so it touches a number of different jurisdictions. And so as we take on
now
this
we could take over and we don't got to tell you shit.
Investigation, that is one of the things we're going to be looking at, is that Orange County.
Have you made any headway yet on that murder that you're able to discuss in terms of why that happened or what led to it?
No, and typically what you're going to see in terms of when we make headway, you're going to learn about it because it's going to be something that is filed in court. It's possible we'll do another press conference in connection with one of those to tie together some of the questions that people have about the motive and about how all this relates to one another. But for the most part, you should expect that, we're going to litigate this case, and now that it's in federal court, the way we do it in federal court is we speak through what happens on the federal docket.
So we know that everything involved is about money and drugs. Do you know if Katherine or his family is involved, her family is involved in this kind of deal too?
Yeah, and the sheriff said that, I think, early on, that this case is about drugs and money, and I believe that to be the case. I'm not prepared to say what the particular role of any particular...
Of course he's not prepared to say. He's done saying anything. And he's going to tell her, don't ask me that question again.
Person is. As a federal prosecutor for more than 21 years, I've seen these cases play out all sorts of different ways, so I don't want to speculate at this point about what we're going to be able to find. But I can tell you the victim is the victim and will always be the victim. In those other cases that my office has prosecuted, a number of the victims in those cases were individuals involved in drug trafficking. It's a very dangerous business. But that didn't stop them from being the victim in our case and from us treating them as the victim. And Katherine is the victim in this case. But as part of our comprehensive investigation, we're going to do the best we can to understand all of the relationships between all of the individuals who we uncover.
Bro right here would appreciate if you stop talking so he could sit down. He's tired. All right. That's basically what we're going to get from that. The feds have taken over.